Hey guys, thank you for coming to my channel. My name is Greg Ruppert and I've got a little story to tell. I hope you're going to enjoy it. It's kind of a Indiana Jones jungle adventure story. Me living in the jungle for 7 years. So I'm here in California in Palm Desert. I'm at my home in Monterey Country Club. I've been here for about a year. I just got done spending the last 9 years living in the jungles of Peru. And I've had quite a life experience, and so I want to share some of this with you today. So back in 2005, I was a developer investor here in the Palm Springs area. Started out as a carpenter, worked my way up, did a lot of various things in sales, meandered all around the country, and I ended up coming back to Palm Springs where I settled in. I got involved with my community, as well as being a developer investor. I ended up was appointed to a planning commission for the city of Desert Hot Springs, went on to become a city councilman, a vice mayor, and I also was appointed to the Coachella Valley Association of Governments and Department of Transportation. So I was doing quite a bit at the age of 55 back in 2006. You might say I was running myself into the ground. But in the Riverside County Transportation Department, I got appointed to a really nice position where I was appointed in plans and programs, where 5 guys sat on a committee to handle about $158 million worth of transportation funds to decide where the new railways, the new freeways, the new highways were going to go. Now, with that kind of responsibility, we all agreed that we would go in once a year for a voluntary drug test to let the citizens know we weren't alcoholics and drug addicts handling their funds. So when I went in for my first test, the doctors called me back in and said, "Greg, we got great news. You passed your drug test with flying colors, but something turned up on the radar screen. And we're sorry to tell you this, but you've got the worst form of chronic hepatitis C in the world. It's a stone cold killer, and it's given you fibrosis to the liver, which has given you cirrhosis to the liver, and you were basically a dead man at this point." So they said, "We don't have much to offer you in the way of help, except for a small deal where we might be able to get your life extended for a year by putting you on interferon and Robital, which is a chemo cancer treatment." So at the height of my career, I just finally, after working 35 years, working 8 hours a day, 14 days a week, I'd finally come into all my money, because at the time real estate market had gone through the moon, and everybody in the world that could breathe or prove they were over 18 were being lent money by the banks like it was cotton candy. And I had gone ahead and suffered for a lot of years with the properties I owned, because they were really in depressed areas, and I ended up, finally, they came up way beyond my wildest dreams, and I sold most all the real estate that I had just before the market crashed. But that's when I received this death sentence. So God was really kind of being funny with me by finally letting me have all my just desserts, which I'd really worked hard for a long time. I was pushing that ball up the hill, and now it was going to be my turn. I was going to get to have all the things I ever dreamed of, which I'd never had. But now he handed me the death sentence in the other hand, saying that he wasn't going to give me even 3 weeks to get my estate in order. So with that said, I went ahead, and instead of telling him to kiss off, I said, "Look, I've got a cousin. She's a holistic healer. Her name's Nancy. Can I have her call you and ask you some questions over the telephone about some of the stuff you talked about?" And he said, "Oh, sure, you can have her call me if you want to have her qualify me to see what I'm up to. No problem at all." So I said, "Okay, great." So I went home and I called Nancy, and I told Nancy what was going on. I said, "Listen, I know you'll be able to go ahead and pull the covers off this guy, because all he wants is the $4,000 for his treatment, and then he's going to give me my little bottle of goo, and then he's going to be down the road. So go ahead and call me right back and let me know that, you know, what we both already know, that this guy's nothing but a charlatan." So she said she sure would be willing to do it, because she loved me. She didn't want anything from me other than to see me get better. So She calls up this guy. She's in another state at the time. She calls him up, and about a half an hour later, I get a phone call from her, and I'm thinking, okay, so before she said a word, I said, so Nancy, snake oil salesman, right? And the next thing out of her mouth is she starts to cry as she tells me that this guy's the real deal, and that all the people on the planet, God might have actually picked this guy to put him in front of me because he might actually really be able to help me. And that all the stuff that he was talking about the medicine, the people, the places, and whatnot, all had a basis in reality, and that he could really be a possibility that he could give me a chance to have a second chance. So with that said, I knew that Nancy didn't have any ulterior motives, so I didn't care if this guy was a purple people eater with one eye. I was going to definitely hook up with him and do whatever he said. So the next day I met with him. I was getting ready to give him the $4,000 and start the treatment, and before we did, he stopped me and he said, look, he said, before we go any further, he said, I got to be honest with you, I got to let you know that this treatment we're about to go on, that 90% of it is going to be coming from you. You're going to be the guy that's going to go ahead and heal yourself, and about 5% of it is going to be taking the plant-based medicine, and the other 5% is going to be your mental. So he said, the plant-based medicine is you're going to go raw and vegan for 90 days, and you're going to take my cure. And he said, if you do all of what I say and you follow my regimen, then I've got a really good chance, Greg, that you, Greg, can turn your immune system on. And he said, because that's what we're after. That's what I'm up to. He said, if I can get you to turn your immune system on, you'll be able to save your own life. So with that said, he said, if you understand everything, he said, we can go ahead and I'll take your money and we'll start the treatment. So I said, yes, I do. So we started the treatment. And so for the next 30 days, he would show up at my house once a week with 2-gallon jugs of what I called pink goo. Basically what it was strawberries, lemons, with a thing called Uno de Gato in it, and some cayenne pepper. And God, I stayed on that. I had 3 8-ounce glasses a day, and that's what I lived on for a month. And at the end of the month, and I get to drink water, distilled water. So at the end of that, there was this complete revitalization and rebirth of me. All of my hepatitis C started coming down. I started feeling better. And then after the 30 days was up, he showed up at my door and he's got a little plate of salad. And I almost had a heart attack because I hadn't seen food in 30 days. I'm heading back to Never Never Land this month. Right now it's July the 25th, 2017. I've been home here for a year taking care of my mom in a state, and I'm just getting ready to break ground on my brand new Shangri-La. It's going to be a hotel resort retreat healing center. It's on the side of the mountain overlooking the Cambasa Rio. It's nestled into the jungle. I'm going back to work on, I've already broken ground on it, but I'm going back to work with my architect and engineer, my good friends back there. I also have a story to tell. While I was living there, I happened to build the largest discotheque in northern Peru, one of the most successful, most largest discotheques in all of northern Peru. It's a jungle disco, because one of the things I found out when I got to the jungle is the only thing the people in the jungle do for entertainment is go out dancing to these gigantic nightclubs with smoke machines and laser lights, and I mean, they really know how to have a great time. But that's just part of the story. There's a lot more there. So anyway, my philosophy in life is you are what you eat, the body's ability to heal itself, and you want to eat your fruits and vegetables. So I look forward to seeing you again on YouTube and tell you more of my story. In the meantime, take care.